Constraint is not a cage. It is also not a perfect answer. It is 100% an option when it comes to accomplishing more tasks and not feeling so pushed into things or so much rigidity. This week, what I really want to talk about that I know is so important is productivity. It's been coming up a lot with my clients, and what was great is a client actually sent me a video about constriction and about constraints. And at first when I watched the video, let's just say I didn't mesh with it entirely, and I'm still not like, this is the one way. Obviously this person that's writing this, and there's a link below, you can check it out. They're totally feeling like this is the thing right now. And, I think it is an option we need to explore. So constraints, not rigidity. And in particular, this client that brought it up this week recognized that without any external constraints, they were only having internal constraints, and accomplishing anything thereby falls on willpower, which is not a useful tool at all, especially for unconventional leaders. That's just a pain in the butt. It just doesn't work, and it drains all your batteries. So blah, throw that one out the window most of the time. Finding appropriate external constrictions that do not cause major resistance can lead to great success when it comes to your productivity. And that was the fun, challenging question that we were doing, since he brought the video and he's like, I think this is the answer. And so I'm like, great, let's explore. And we took some of the things on his plate that he was working on. One was in particular getting projects outlined and prepared and ready for meetings to be delegated out. Just really boring. It's a tedious type of thing. And sitting down and trying, what we figured out was his typical way of doing that was to wait until however many hours before and then cram and lose sleep and like just, it's going to happen. Well, it happens, but it's also messes up everything else in the system. Instead, we took a project in particular he was working on that had a meeting coming up in a week, and we gave it freedom. We scheduled it at a particular time with the constraint was just, it would be worked on from here to here, every day at 1 to 2. That was it. We found that in his calendar and we're like, block it off. Every day, 1 to 2. What happened and how much he got done with the project, we did not put rigid rules on. We said, just show up at this time, sit down, pull out the project, do project. And it took us a while to get there, because at first it took a little while. Once we got there, now he's testing it. I've gotten a couple of feedbacks from him, and so far it's been really good. Again, we put some constraint on it. It has a time now that is not all at once. It's spread out. Awesome. And we moved some of the rigidity of so much of this will get done at this time. When we smart goaled it down too far, too rigid, then it got put off. So we're testing that out for new constraints and a little less rigidity on that. I personally, after we had the conversation, I thought, okay, I want to explore this a little bit for myself. And the next day I actually was in a workshop in a class, and I had an opportunity to get all of my work done, but I put 10-minute constraints on it. I had 100 questions to answer, and some of them were quick yes, no types of answers. Some of them I definitely had to go out and explore some more details, but I said, I made it a game. And I said, okay, the constraints I put on it were, how many of these 10 questions, they were 10-minute blocks or 10 question blocks, how many of these questions can I get done in 10 minutes? Go. And then when I was done with that, I'm like, there's probably about 5 minutes worth of, I got to go find some additional things to support some of what I answered. And so I would set another timer. Okay, get as much as you can done. And I'd cut at the 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, I got to move on to the next set of questions, or I won't have this done within the constraints of having this done in an hour. So that I have some time prior to my class. I got to say, it was fun to implement some external constraints on it, and to remind myself, this does not have to be perfect. That thought kept coming into my head. Oh, this isn't that great. I could do this so much better if I just had a little more time. And then I thought, you know what? That is what gets in the way of getting this done and being on time with this and not delaying other people. I'm like, that excuse really doesn't fly anymore. And it felt really good to push back to my own internal dialogue and really start to recognize, what's the win in this? Is it everything's at a 10, or is the win on this that it's at a 5 and done? It was at a 5 and done for sure with this project. So constraints can be valuable. And I hope in talking about this, I'm getting you to think about how you might have some things in your life that you want to move forward, and how you might put just some fun and friendly constraints on them. Like I said, I kind of gamed it. I used the timer and I chunked it differently than I normally would, and just went, let's play a game. How much of this can I get done in this time frame? If I set it up like that, I took away the other rules and I made new rules. And that quite often can be so much more rewarding and can create a lot better results. I'm Georgina, unconventional leadership coach, international neurodiversity coach, and a champion for you thinking outside the box, inside the box, and creating results that amaze you and make your life incredible. Thank you so much.